Been taught that a haiku consists of 3 lines and it's being 575, but that's not true. Haikus consist of no more than 17 syllables and do not make complete sentences. It contains 2 juxtaposed images about nature and the seasons. A renga is a form of haiku done with multiple people. Each person adds 2 lines to an already made haiku or haiku to a previous 2 lines. A renga is not a narrative, though. It is a series of interlinking poems and shift scenes with rules to follow for certain lines.
Our renga is entitled Spring Form. Hope you guys like it. March wind, shaking the maple branches, marshaling the troops.
Bluebirds foraging in the thin mist.
Rabbits run in empty fields, thin weed blooming.
A couple meets along a quiet stream.
Sheen of the moonbeam, a single rock casts a shadow.
A coal skink moves into the shade. Melting ice cubes in my tea, watching the news.
Eagle eggs hatch.
Blighted chestnut with withering roots, mangy dog.
The sea foam reaches higher this year.
Sun-bleached monuments, all of the monarchs have gone.
Pictures of memories. Under the willow, squirrels playing with their nuts.
Bent over the garden, a full moon.
Tides advancing and receding, windshield wipers.
Smell of earthworms, click of the reel.
Purple loosestrife invades a wetland.
Wandering in cattails whipped by the wind.
There is no storyline. There's no unifying theme. If there were, that would be against the rules. Okay, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to repeat. You're not allowed to use, what is it, the word woman? Word woman is not
Never
allowed to be used. Yeah, you can't use the word woman. And you want to talk about some of the other rules, Josh, that were in there?
Yeah, so you're supposed to have a reference to the host in the first line. That's why we used a little bit of a pun with marshalling there, a nod to Dr. Marshall.
I didn't even get that.
And then, I mean, the sort of links you create are really what make both haiku and renga interesting and sort of unique as poetic forms. For example, we had the lines, the sheen of the moonbeam, a single rock casts a shadow, and then the next link is a coal skink moves to the shade, so you have the linguistic conceptual echo there of the shade, and then I'm also sort of something that's a little bit more abstract, a little bit more haiku-like, is melting ice cubes in my tea, watching the news, and eagle eggs hatch, because you get the visual echo of the crack, like when you drop an ice cube in the warm drink and it cracks, and then an egg cracking because it's hatching, right? So those are the sorts of things that that we were going for, and that you're supposed to sort of play off of in renga. And I mean, I think it's a cool poetic form because it rewards multiple readings and deep thought, which is what art should do.
Yeah, it's constantly shifting, so it's not one continuous poem, it's a set of interlinking poems. Like, you start off with 3 lines, add 2, and that completes a poem. Then that last 2 lines is the beginning of a new poem. You add 3 to that, and that's a poem. And then you take that 3 and you add 2, and that's another poem. So it's a series of interlinked poems, with the links being often very subtle, sometimes, but they're not just like on the same subject. You're not even allowed to repeat words from one verse to the next. So it's a tonal link, or like the coal skink and right after the shadow, was it? So the colors there are making the link. So there are all kinds of odd linking strategies that you can use. Okay, next.
Our renga Downfall Spring. So I hope you guys like it. Calm breeze, students relaxing on a spring day.
A robin lands gently, followed quickly by her hatchlings.
Clouds rolling over the mountains, sunlight recedes.
Shadows vanish as dusk rolls in.
Marble headstones and a gibbous moon lit in the night.
Dead balsams creaking, a log crashes to the ground. Cherry blossoms failing to bloom, harsh spring.
A tree frog leaps from the pond, a vulture sweeps it away.
Atop the steeple, the birds eat, perched.
Churchgoers in mourning, a dove cries out.
A coffin carried through the door, willows weeping.
Wind howls as rain clouds sweep overhead.
Gray skies awaken the wolf as the eagle takes flight.
A salmon evades talons in its moonlit stream.
Fighting our way up the countercurrent as classes come to end.
The sun now shining more than once a week.
Nimbus clouds move swiftly across the blue sky.
A squirrel darts up a tree, hoarding for next winter.
Amidst the field, baby's breath and bluebell blossoms.
A single robin lands at our feet.
Hoarfrost-covered branches, dewdrops cling closely, tailor-made. Clothes mended by red flames of a hearth.
Rose thorns in a crystal vase, reflecting.
Chitin sheen on the wings of dragonflies.
Moonlight reflected in the eyes of the horned owl. Light filters through trees, feathers flutter. Squawking baby birds bob, awaiting worm remains.
Incense wafts among the silent crowd.
Fungi, returning nutrients to dead soils.
Sprouting clovers flattened by marching ducks. Sidewalks display white and brown crap, green grass frames it.
Raindrops landing on your lashes. Forgotten swing sways above worn out wood chips.
The unkept path, lit by the moon.
White petals, touched by rain, transparent in my hands. Tea leaves drift to the bottom of a crystal cup.
A warm breeze disturbs the stillness of cherry blossoms.
Wandering in orchards, lost in a maze.
Verse does and how it links
Sure.
back to the beginning.
So we started out with talking about the branches being covered in like ice and everything. That's kind of what the hoarfrost is. And to link that back, we ended our poem with more of like a spring type mood and had it talk about the orchards, so that the branches link back together in that way.
So notice how they linked it without repeating any words. So they had bare branches in the first stanza and then orchards in the last. So we never had to say branches again, but linked it back. You may also notice that as we were reading, you sometimes have one person do two verses in a row. That's at a page break, because you only do six verses on a page. And so the person that ends this page begins the next page. One nice effect of that is, since you're alternating verses of 3 lines and 2 lines, if you had four of us, then when it was my turn, every time I went, it would be whatever I did the first time. But when someone has to go twice, then you can arrange it twice in a row. Then you can arrange it so that you're not always doing 3-line verses or always doing 2-line verses. So you do some 3s and some 2s. So it forces you to change the sequence when someone has to do 2 verses in a row. So, all right, those are our